We had a chance to speak with Congresswoman Lisa McClain on the issue of abortion, which has been dominating the headlines this week in the wake of the possibility of the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Representative McClain is also on the Armed Services Committee, and she just introduced a bill to protect veterans from losing their benefits if they refuse to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Here's some of what the Congresswoman had to say. Congresswoman Lisa McClain, thank you so much for joining us on the Capitol Report.
Thank you for having me.
Now, this has been a huge week for the issue of abortion, and as a female member of Congress, I'd just like to get your take on the events that have taken place this week.
You know, I think for this week, the word that I want to use is persistence. We have a belief in life, and the members of our caucus and really the voices of all the Americans are continuing to be heard to fight for the lives of the unborn. And this is a very monumental time in our history. You know, I think we have some good indications from the courts right now, and I believe we're cautiously optimistic, and we just are coming off the Thanksgiving holiday, and I think right now we're just thankful to be in this position of truly perhaps a life-changing event, and not just a life-changing event, a multi-life-changing event. So I'm very encouraged.
Now, Congresswoman, I want to ask you, do you think that restricting abortions in any form is infringing upon women's rights? And what do you think that the science says about the issue of viability?
Well, first of all, I think if we're going to talk about the science, we really and truly need to talk about the science. And there's a science argument, and there's also a moral argument. And I believe in individual liberties, but when my individual liberties infringe upon another's individual liberties, then it's just not me that I'm talking about. And I made a conscious decision, and at some point in time, we have to own our actions and our choices. So, of course, I believe in women's rights. Of course, I believe in individual liberties. But when those liberties infringe on the lives of an unborn child, then it's not just me I'm talking about. And I think the science would show, as it pertains to viability, that at 15 weeks, 12 weeks even, there is a viable person there.
I just want to switch gears a little bit. You recently co-sponsored a bill with your colleague, Representative Brian Babin, and it's called the Our Veterans Earned It Act. Tell us a little bit about your bill.
Well, at the end of the day, our veterans make the ultimate sacrifice. They put their life on the line to defend our freedoms and our freedoms that we all enjoy on these shores. I want to make sure that we care as much about them while they're in the service, while they're not, as well as after their service. And what's critical about this is I want to make sure that there is no negative consequence to those people that gave the ultimate sacrifice and in our service, that if they choose not to get the vaccine, that their benefits, of which they are entitled to because they've paid the dues, do not become decreased in any way, shape, or form.
I want to ask you, in Chicago, there was a pretty big win for the Chicago Police Department where they pushed back on Mayor Lori Lightfoot's mandate, and she's given up that fight. Do you see this, potentially happening on the federal level with things like your bill? Will there be enough resistance that it could have an impact on some of these federal mandates?
Absolutely. And that is why we are fighting so hard against the vaccine mandates. And I hate even calling it a vaccine because it's not. It does not eradicate COVID, right? Listen, I believe I've been vaccinated, but that is a choice that I've made between myself and my healthcare professional. And I believe what you're seeing is people's voices are beginning to get heard. And they're getting heard at the federal level. And we must continue to fight and continue our voices to be heard with the science. Remember, look at the frontline workers, the police officers, the healthcare professionals, all of those individuals. They were our heroes. Now they're our villains. I think what the American people want is just a little truth, transparency, and God, could we have just a little bit of consistency? We have natural immunity, we have testing, we have come so far and made so much progress with COVID. Why don't we celebrate that as opposed to fear-mongering?
Congresswoman Lisa McClain, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.